Hey everyone, Kunik here, and if it's not evident yet, I'm a bit of a Mac fan. I've got a casual iMac G4 sitting back there. I own an iBook G4, a MacBook Pro, the very first unibody MacBook Pro that is. I've owned a Mac Mini, and now I own a mid-2010 MacBook. So without further ado, here is the unboxing. Alright, I think I may have it. Yes, ooh. Okay, so let me just get this into frame. Let me just I don't technically need my keyboard right now, so I guess I could just disconnect that and move that over here. And here it is. Here's the MacBook. So the charger should be in here as well. If not, I'll have to use my charger, and I don't think it works on this one. So, there it is. Wow, okay, so here's the quality of the charger. Let me disable my light. Here we go. So it seems to be in relatively good condition. It doesn't have the wall extension here, but it seems to be pretty good. I may need to research this and see if it's a reproduction by a third party and not officially Apple or not. No, it says designed by Apple in California. This is a legitimate MagSafe adapter. So awesome. That's in fantastic condition. My 2008 MacBook Pros is in nowhere near as good condition as this. So that's pretty cool. And just as a quick glance, I'm not seeing any kind of major damage to the body of the MacBook either. So I'm going to be very cautious as I'm cutting away the plastic over here. And that's about all I want to risk. So time to take a look at this. The bottom is kind of scraped up, so you can definitely see there's a few scrapes there if I bring it closer to the camera, but that's okay. The bottom is kind of meant to do that. It's just meant to take the brunt of the damage. But let's see here. So here's the super drive. No noticeable damage or cracks that I can see. Here's the front of the device, and over here again, no noticeable cracks. There was a little bit of a scrape right here, but I'm willing to forgive them considering this is almost 7 years old at this point. Anyhow, let's open it up and take a look. So here it is opened up, and I gotta say, I don't see anything noticeable here. Let me close it again. Yeah, no noticeable cracks or anything. This is in really good condition for being 7 years old. Whoever had this before really kept it in good condition. I don't see any noticeable cracks on the screen either. As you can see, it's pretty glossy. You would be able to notice it right here as I tilt the screen. Looks pretty good to me. Let's see if we have any kind of power. I do have a power light right here, so we do see this. There's the bong. So yeah, let's see what we've got here. There is some damage to the display that I can see. I do believe that is common due to the nature of the keyboard. The keyboard presses up against the display and creates like a little bit of a line, but from my understanding, that's not too noticeable unless you're on a pure blank screen like this. When you get off of this screen, it should sort of just blend into whatever image you have there. So that's understandable. I'm not going to fault them too much. I did read up on that. So let's see. Well, it seems to be pretty snappy. I think we're on the setup screen. I think they just completely wiped it. Ooh, this is Snow Leopard. So they just wiped it back down to the defaults it came with, which was Snow Leopard at the time. I was expecting macOS Sierra, so that's actually fantastic. That means there's probably no iCloud lock on this, because iCloud didn't even exist back then. It was called .Mac. So there's no iCloud activation lock that I really have to worry about. I have this, and I hope I don't get a copyright infringement from this little sound clip that's playing right here. I may have to jump cut this. No, it's enough on YouTube. I love this intro. I'm sad that they got rid of this. That brings me back to the days, because all of my previous Macs have had Leopard on it at one point or another. Even that G4 that's over there, it had ran Leopard. Not Snow Leopard, a little bit different, but close enough. So let's see, United States. Let's see, thank you. So we should be fully set up at this point. You can actually see that line right there, just sort of there a little bit. Not too noticeable, but definitely there. So we're in OS 10 now. Definitely Snow Leopard. Ooh, that dock is... Ooh, that's... Not seen that in a while. Let's go to About This Mac, just see what version this is. 10.6.8, so we do have the App Store. That's nice. Ooh, battery life is running low indeed. 1 hour. Oh, service They told me the battery life was good. It says service battery over here. So what, let's take a look at this. So, more info. And it only has 2 gigs of RAM. I was under the impression I was getting 4 gigs of RAM. Very interesting. Let's see. I mean, I can upgrade that, but I was told 2 different things here that are not the case. Power. So this thing supports up to 1,000 cycles. Charge remaining. Let's see. We're at 894 cycles. So we're a little under 1,000, or a little under 100 away, or a little over 100 away. My math is horrible tonight. A little over 100 away from the max cycle count before the battery starts to significantly degrade. So I may want to start looking into that in the future. I am very annoyed at the RAM issue because I was looking to put macOS Sierra on this, and that's going to run like turd on only 2 gigs of RAM. So I may have to gut the RAM from my MacBook Pro to fix this. Unfortunately, we'll have to wait and see. Hey everyone, Kunik here again, and I got a pretty cool update for you guys. So when I ended what was supposed to be the original ending of the video, I just thought that would be it. But I figured, well, after I was done with that, I would just contact the reseller of the MacBook that I got, just to let them know that they didn't provide the ample amount of RAM and the battery was in poor condition. They didn't even really reply to me. I saw in less than 8 hours there was a package out for delivery, and then they replied to me. They said that they were going to be shipping out a battery and a good quality battery and replacement RAM, because I told them that I could self-service this, and less than like 2 days later I got it. That's fantastic service. I'm going to totally link these guys in the chat or in the description of this video, because if you're looking to buy a refurbished Mac, these guys will evidently live up to their word. So they sent in the gigs of RAM right here, 2 2GB sticks for the laptop. Now, it could be slightly cheating right here. I actually don't need this RAM. Oh, drop the other RAM. I don't need this RAM primarily because I have a MacBook Pro from 2008, the very first unibody MacBook Pro, that I no longer use anymore because it doesn't run macOS Sierra. That's why I actually got this MacBook in the first place, because I couldn't upgrade to macOS Sierra on the MacBook. Well, that had 2 4GB sticks, and macOS 10 was able to read 6 GB of that. So I had 6 GB of effective RAM, but I had 8 gigs of sticks in there. So I just sort of salvaged the sticks from there and put them in the MacBook. Worked just fine. Got 8 gigs of RAM in there now. These will be going in the MacBook Pro because I do want to have a use for that going forward, predominantly because it has a FireWire 400 port, actually a FireWire 800 port, and I still do have a few FireWire devices that I need to use that with. But the big thing that I was really happy that they sent was this. This is a battery from Apple. This is not a refurbished battery. This is not a remanufactured battery by some third party. This is a legitimate Apple battery. And that has me stoked, because if this is a brand new battery, that means I'm going to go back up to the 10 hours of battery life that this MacBook should be getting, and it's going to last a very long time. That thing holds 1,000 cycles. That'll probably last me another 7 years. I probably won't be using this MacBook before that runs out of cycles, so that's awesome. Plus, they're not even requesting that the battery get returned, or the RAM that get returned, so at the very least I do have a battery that's it's in poor condition from my perspective, but it still has a few, like, dozen cycles left on it, so it's still sort of a good backup battery if all else fails. But let's get to the fixing of the laptop. So here it is. I picked up this. This is 20 bits. It's got the tri-wing bit that you need to get into the battery compartment. I'm pretty sure there's a bit in there that I can use to actually unscrew these 8 screws, but I know I've got a working one right here, so I'm just going to get into my little toolkit here. Got myself an anti-static band. Definitely recommend one of these. Let's see. So we also need this. Just going to use it to store the various screws. I always recommend having some sort of like a little container to put them in. We'll stick that over there, and then I need to get to the screwdriver, which I believe this is the right one that I use. So let me close this, move it out to the side, and get unscrewing. Alright. Cool thing about these is that they're really tiny screws. If you've ever taken off the back of a MacBook Pro, as I have, Not so tiny and a bit more of a pain, so would not recommend. All right, so back plate off. I do need to dust this off a little bit. It's a little on the gross side. So here's the battery. The first thing we need to do is gently lift the battery pin connector up, which is right here. All right, it's out. We're good. Now we need the tri-wing screwdriver to remove these 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's only 6 that we have to actually get to, if I remember correctly. And there's my cat. She's being annoying right now. Let's see. So I think this is the tip that we need. So tri-wing tip. All right. Let's see. Yeah, that's working perfectly. It's the perfect size. Let me close this and open up the Y compartment. Store the screws for this in there so we don't mix up our screws. Tab. I'll pull in this tab instead. So the tab appears to be cut, making me think that this has been serviced in the past. And boy, is this dusty. So let me set that aside. We're going to put the new one in there. So, so there's like a night and day difference between how clean these are. All right, I've got the light on it as best I can. You can kind of see that there's like some dust and it's not in great shape. It's got some marks and stuff on it. And then comparing it to what appears to be a brand new Apple battery, there's no marks, no dings, no nothing. The tape is in perfect order. Flaps over just fine. This one, the tape was like stuck to it. It wasn't so good. So hopefully that this is good signs to come. All right, so just going to seat it back in as best I can. All right, and we got to reconnect this little dial right here. I actually want to do this before I seat the battery in there because it's a bit of a pain to get in by the looks of it. All right, seated in, battery seated in. And before I screw anything in, I'm actually just going to boot it up and see what the performance is like. That's probably a very bad thing to do, but YOLO. So we got a green light here. That's good. It's not orange, which means that the battery seems to be fully charged. Let's boot it up and see what this is like. All right, and we're in. Back to my desktop, and let us see what's... Oh, it's my mail opening. Let's see what the battery life is like. Or the battery condition, rather. I know you guys won't be able to see it too well from your end, but I'll be the eyes and ears here for what this is like. Hopefully not the ears. If it's the ears, it's probably going to be going boom on me. So yeah, this SSD will help speed this up so much when I get that in on Monday. Right now the boot process is quite a whole ordeal. So let's see. So system reports. And over to power. Let's see, battery installed. Yep. Cycle count only 217, so this is not a brand new battery, but it's a heck of a lot better than the 890 something that we had before, or whatever it was at. So that's awesome. It's not charged at all right now, but saying a full charge capacity is looking like it'll be 400 or 4,710. Which doesn't seem right, primarily because this particular battery should go up to close to 6,000 when it's fully charged. So that could be something with the SMC, but yeah, it's looking pretty good. It's going to take about 10 hours to charge it up according to what it says. I wonder what it... Oh, it just immediately shut off when I unplugged it. So that's interesting. I need to see if... Probably I just have to let it charge a little bit longer, but whatever. Don't do that at home. Don't do that ever to your laptop, what I just did, but at least it's off now. I did need to get back to this state. So I'm going to just reconnect everything, and that'll be it for this video.